Scorpio, your weekly love tarot reading begins with the Empress, the Tower, the Sun, and the Eight of Swords. Wow. Okay, so three major arcana and an Eight of Swords. Your person in this love connection comes in with Three of Swords, a Seven of Swords, a Page of Cups, and a Nine of Swords. So at the bottom of the deck, we have a Seven of Cups, which is really pie in the sky, right? Pie in the sky thinking, wishful thinking, unrealistic ambitions, unrealistic plans, plans that are made in the clouds with no grounding, right? And no sort of no figuring out how to ground it and bring it down to a place where it can manifest and be made. But we're going to come back to that Seven of Cups. Scorpio, let's just see how you and your person are coming into this week. Well, you're coming in with Empress energy, and your person is coming in with a Three of Swords. That Three of Swords is betrayal. There's a feeling here that you have, that someone, okay, let me not get ahead of myself, but certainly someone has really betrayed their trust. Someone has really sort of deceived them, and they're really tied up in knots about it. You, however, Scorpio, are coming in with a real strong Empress energy. Empress, you're kind of like feeling good about yourself. You're taking time out. You're taking care of yourself. You're in a very beneficent, right? Beneficent vibe of sort of like, yes, wanting to be of assistance and help and nurture and, take, you know what I mean? It's like you're kind of almost an aloof feeling, right? So I wonder where this Three of Swords is coming from. But let's go ahead and get some clarity, because as I look ahead, there is definitely some toxic energy here. Let's first clarify why you're feeling so good in your body right now and just luxuriating around you. And your person is resonating with such turmoil. You're juggling a lot, and they have moon energy. Wow, Scorpio, you may just... You're juggling a lot, and you may be dealing with someone who's quite paranoid, right? You may be dealing with someone who's a little bit paranoid, or they really get in their head and they really start thinking a lot of things, or whatever the case is, right? Here, you're juggling a lot. Are you juggling other lovers or other things? There's something about everything that you're taking on right now. There's something about all of the things that you're kind of trying to be responsible for right now, that you're trying to keep, all the balls you're trying to keep up in the air, is making your person feel very, very betrayed here, right? It's making them feel like you lied to them about something. Now, how do you, listen, this moon energy that comes in, they are really unsure. They don't believe anything. They don't trust anything right now. They don't know who to trust. They're in quite a dark space. Now, how do you guys see each other? You see them as a tower moment right now, and they see you as Seven of Swords. They think you're up to something, Scorpio. They believe that you are right now, playing games with them, backstabbing them, being underhanded, trying to undermine them. And you can see what turmoil they're going through, because you can see them resonating with that tower energy, right? You can see that right now they're having a real moment, a real sort of crisis. They're finding out information that's really making them think differently about everything. And that's making them sort of really react and feel like they have to throw everything out. Everything must go, right? So they're having a very strong reaction to something, and you see this. As for them, they just see you as being quite treacherous and underhanded right now. So what are you up to? It almost feels weird here, because it's like you're coming across as this kind of nice, strong Empress energy, this energy of being quite dignified and nurturing, being very busy, taking care of everything. And so why should any of that cause your person to feel as though you're being quite treacherous and underhanded? Let's get some clarity here. Wheel of Fortune, certain events are coming in, And King of Swords for you. Yeah, events are coming in and happening for them that's really making them believe all these things. And I'm going to say to you that you may be dealing with someone here who's just extremely paranoid, Scorpio. You know, it just feels like that. Because if none of your energy is, you just don't, you're not coming across as toxic in this reading. You're not coming across as having done anything. At worst, it feels as though you may have been quite busy at work, literally. Excuse me, at worst, it seems that way, right? That maybe you were taking on too many hours, or maybe you're juggling too many projects, right? Or you have a lot of responsibilities to people. Certainly, you resonate with a lot of strong motherly energy. So there may be a lot of people who call on that from you. Irregardless, whatever it is, this vibe that I'm getting from you is not anything for your person to feel this weird about, and this sort of, I want to say, unsure, and it's almost as if in their thoughts of you being underhanded, they're the ones who are being underhanded, right? They're kind of sort of projecting almost onto you. And you're going to be like, listen, this is not happening for me. Like King of Swords energy, you're going to let your person in this connection, this person you're with in this connection, I think you're really going to let them know, hey, hang on a second. You're going to lay down the law and lay down the law of the land in a way, in terms of, all right, this is how we're going to communicate. I'm being honest. You're going to be honest with me, and we're going to hash this shit out, because, I am you know what I mean? I'm not going to allow any weird games to happen here. King of Swords is just not about it. King of Swords is not about any weird games, any kind of toxic energy or behaviors, any gaslighting. He cuts that shit down. Boom. And he lays down the law, and he lays down what boundaries need to be in place. And if you don't honor them, you can just be cut out. Yeah. So that's how you are coming into this, right? You're like, look, enough is enough. Your person and you, how do you guys see your roles in this relationship? Well, for you, you see Sun energy and they see Page of Cups. It's almost as if Scorpio, I'm going to be honest with you, Scorpio, and this could be vice versa, but it almost seems as though this is an up and down relationship that you have with somebody that's very passionate and very back and forth. And every now and again, they get kind of out of hand, right? They get kind of out of hand, and you have to be the light that comes back in and lets them know, hey, you're being out of hand, and let me regulate you again. Let me put you back in check. Stop acting stupid. Stop acting and thinking stupid things that aren't really happening over here. Stop being paranoid. You may be dealing with another water sign, Scorpio. I mean, the moon it can be associated with Pisces energy and Cancerian energy in the tarot, but certainly Piscean energy, right? And so, you may be dealing with a Pisces Scorpio, and both of you are very, very watery and sort of deep, and, your emotions really get the best of you, and then you think a lot about your emotions, and et cetera, et cetera. But it does feel like you both see this interesting role, because now they're feeling very affectionate again. They're wanting to move towards you again. And you are kind of like back in the sun and back happy and back center of attention. Again, it feels like this is a merry-go-round, and this is kind of like how you guys interact, which is another reason why it makes a lot of sense over here that you're just not that bothered. Initially you're really just kind of doing your own thing, luxuriating, getting along with, doing what you normally do, Scorpio. And your person is like on fire over here, being all sensitive, very emotional, very upset over nothing. And so it isn't until this kind of event here with this tower moment, when they really begin to act out, it isn't until then that you kind of put the smack down and say, look, this is enough. Pull your shit together, pull yourself together, and it all kind of works out. Let's get some clarity here. 3 of Cups, a lot of friendships, a lot of celebrations, and Hangman energy. Well, your person refuses to sort of change their viewpoint entirely. They're still stubbornly holding on to some things, right? They're still stubbornly holding on to certain behavior patterns that really engender neediness. You're dealing with somebody, Scorpio, who kind of likes the back and forth from you, who likes you having to put them in check and cater to them. And get down. Can you get down, please? Sorry. my cat, and cater to them. And, they're like, oh, I'm all twisted up. I don't know. I don't know. I just didn't know what I was thinking on, and they're kind of playing a little bit of victim. They're kind of playing victim a little bit, I think, because they enjoy this. You listen, yeah, you're celebrating with friends. You're feeling pretty good after having after having had your conversation and sort of put the boundaries back in place and shook your person back up. And yet they present with a little bit more toxic neediness. Possible outcomes here, Scorpio. You begin to be careful because there is a risk here of you beginning to feel a bit victimized yourself and begin to play the victim yourself. And that's very toxic energy. Eight of Swords blames the whole world around and begins to sort of feel like they're not in charge of themselves, and that because it's the whole world around them's fault, that nothing is their fault. And, how can they make a decision when nobody will let them make a decision? This sort of energy, right? Be careful with that. Your person comes in possibly with a lot of regret, right? Because perhaps this time around, now, if you haven't been through this with this person before, maybe this is the first time. And it's really doing a number on you guys because the fight continues, you know. Yes, they kind of get it together, but they continue to play victim here. And then they realize and begin to be very regretful. But by that point, for some of you, Scorpio, you already have begun to take on some toxic energy yourself and begin to act in a very toxic way yourself. So you just listen, this relationship is going to require a lot of work right now. If you are in a cycle with somebody where you guys have done this to each other before, I think this time around there is a danger that you won't come out of it. You're not going to come out into the high swing of this cycle, but you're just going to kind of be stuck in this really dark, shadowy, toxic place where you're both constantly going back and forth. And there's no progress. So be careful here. Again, your person, for those of you who resonate with this, go ahead and like this video. That really helps me out. I appreciate it. But this person, Scorpio, for some of you, this person really continues to just want to hold on to the way they're behaving and acting and the way they see everything. They're not willing to change their viewpoint because it's serving them right now, because it's catering, it's feeding something inside of them, and you maintaining that for them, or you're not forcing them to make, or giving them an ultimatum rather, is allowing them to stay in that place, in that zone. Spirit of the castle, spirit of the dummy, wow. And spirit of the fly, wow. Spirit of the castle is all about the fortress, right? Imprisonment, rescuing, fortress, spirit of the castle, yeah. Being stuck, very much stuck. You can be imprisoned in your own sort of way of thinking and refusing to change. Spirit of the dummy, weak, a follower, someone who's just following along, who's clueless. Take this energy for what it is. Spirit of the fly, of course, means decay, rotten, stagnation. Yeah, for some of you, this relationship with this person may indeed be getting to that place because they're just unwilling to move. They're unwilling to change their viewpoint. And also, listen, for somebody who's unwilling to change their viewpoint at all, or at least meet you halfway, oftentimes it's somebody who will gaslight the shit out of you, which is no wonder why you begin to feel like this over here. Two animal spirits, the mouse and the octopus. Well, the mouse is all about being too fastidious, too concerned with the little details and unable to see the big picture. Do take care. The mouse can really run itself ragged, attending to all the little tasks. Yes, there is a time to make sure the tasks and the little work is done, but also be careful not to sort of lose the ultimate goal and aim. The octopus is water animal spirit, and the octopus reminds us about how dangerous it is to become involved with too many relationships, getting entangled with a lot of different relationships or connections, allowing yourself to be entangled. Watch out with that energy, right? Sometimes the octopus would do well to keep his tentacles to himself and just not engage, right? Instead of having these loose shallow kind of relationships, entanglements with people that ultimately just drain you, drain the octopus. Very unhealthy energy in terms of spreading yourself thin when it comes to your heart and the energy and the emotions and the love that you have to give, the real true attention that you have to give to a relationship. All right, Scorpio, this is your weekly love tarot reading. Thank you so much. Please go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe, or share if you got anything out of this reading. All of those things really help me out, and I truly, truly am grateful when you take the time to do that. But for right now, guys, Scorpio and Scorpio cross watchers, I wish you love, life, and happiness. And I hope to see you back here next Wednesday on my channel, Bow and Arrow Tarot, for your weekly love tarot reading. Bye bye now.